Did you know that the so-called smart habit most people swear by, having a solid backup plan, might actually be the single biggest hidden reason you're not reaching your biggest goals? I know that sounds controversial, maybe even reckless. We've been told our entire lives that smart people plan ahead, that responsible adults always have a plan B, that only fools go all in without a safety net. But what if that advice, as well-meaning as it is quietly destroying your chances at the very things you want most? Let me paint a picture for you. It's late at night, you're scrolling through job listings in bed, your phone glows in the dark, and then you see it. Your absolute dream role, the one that aligns perfectly with your skills, your passions, your vision for your life. Your heart beats a little faster, you screenshot it, you start imagining yourself in that position. The next day, you polish your resume, you write a cover letter that actually sounds like you, confident, specific, compelling. You're excited. This could be it. But then, something happens in the back of your mind. A quiet voice whispers, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll just apply to these 3 safer companies too. You know, just in case. And just like that, without realizing it, something shifts inside you. Or maybe it's not a job. Maybe you're finally launching that side hustle you've been dreaming about for years. You build the website, you post on social media, you tell a few friends, but the whole time, you keep your day job firmly in place. Just in case this doesn't take off, you tell yourself, I need to be practical. Or maybe it's a relationship. You meet someone incredible, but you don't fully close the door on your dating apps. You keep one foot out. Just in case. Or maybe it's a fitness goal, a creative project, a move to a new city, a scary conversation you need to have. In every case, you want the thing, but you also prepare for not getting the thing, and everyone around you nods approvingly. That's so mature, they say. That's responsible. That's adulting. That's smart risk management. But what if I told you that psychology research shows this exact mindset could be quietly sabotaging your performance on the thing you actually want most? Welcome to the backup plan paradox. Today we're going to unpack something that could genuinely change how you pursue goals for the rest of your life. We're going to explore why merely thinking about, or even casually considering, a fallback option can lower your motivation, reduce your effort, and ultimately hurt your chances of success on your primary goal. This isn't just theory, it's not pop psychology. It's backed by multiple peer-reviewed studies from top researchers at elite institutions. Stick around all the way to the end, because I'll share practical ways to flip this paradox in your favor, without recklessly going all in and risking everything every time. If you've ever quietly lined up a plan B while chasing something big, hit that like button right now. Let's dive in and uncover the truth together. First, let's talk about why backup plans feel so good emotionally. Because they do feel good. There's no denying it. Uncertainty is deeply uncomfortable for the human brain. We evolved in environments where the unknown often meant danger, predators, starvation, exile from the tribe. Our ancestors who anticipated threats and prepared contingencies survived longer. So, we're literally wired to hate not knowing what comes next. When life feels unpredictable, anxiety spikes, cortisol floods your system, your mind races through worst-case scenarios. It's exhausting. A backup plan acts like a psychological cushion. It says, hey, relax. If this crashes and burns, you'll be okay. You'll survive. You'll pivot. You won't be left with nothing. That comfort reduces fear, it lowers stress, it helps you sleep at night. And in many low-stakes situations, like booking a vacation with refundable options, or buying something with a good return policy, it's genuinely helpful, smart even. But here's where things get interesting, and deeply counterintuitive. When your goal requires sustained effort, creativity, persistence, and sacrifice. The kind of goals that actually move the needle in life. Introducing a backup plan can backfire dramatically, not slightly, dramatically. This insight comes from landmark research by Jihai Shin at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and Catherine Milkman at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. These aren't fringe academics. Wharton is one of the most respected business schools on the planet. Their 2016 paper, published in the prestigious journal Organizational Behavior and Human Decision and Processes, is still one of the most cited studies on this topic. They called it the backup plan effect. And the results were eye-opening. What it is in? Let me walk you through their simplest and most powerful experiment. It's elegant in its simplicity, but the implications are profound. They recruited 160 university students. Everyone was given the exact same task: unscramble as many sentences as possible within a limited time window. The reward for top performers? A free energy bar. Now you might think, an energy bar? That's a tiny incentive. But in lab settings, even small rewards create real motivation. Students wanted to win. It mattered to them. Here's where it gets interesting. Before starting the task, half the participants were casually prompted to think about backup ways to get free food on campus if they didn't win the bar. The researchers said something like, just in case you don't get the bar, think of other ways you could get free food, campus events, asking a friend to share, whatever. The other half, no such prompt. They just focused on the task ahead. Same task, same reward, same time limit. The only difference was a brief moment of thinking about alternatives. The outcome? The group that brainstormed backups performed significantly worse. They unscrambled fewer sentences. On average, their effort and results dropped noticeably compared to the no backup group. Why? When asked afterward, they reported something crucial. Lower desire for the reward, lower motivation. The backup made the energy bar feel less important, less urgent, less worth fighting for. So, they didn't push as hard, they didn't dig as deep. The researchers didn't stop there. True scientists never do. They ran additional experiments to dig deeper into the mechanism. In one version, the backup was an alternative way to achieve the exact same outcome, like a different path to landing a specific job, not a different job, the same job through different means. The negative effect got even stronger. When the backup was directly related to Plan A, motivation dropped even more. In another study, they measured desire directly through questionnaires. Thinking about a fallback consistently reduced how much participants wanted the primary goal. Less desire led to less effort led to worse performance. It was a clear, measurable chain reaction. The key takeaway from the paper, and I want you to really let this sink in. Merely contemplating a backup plan can reduce the effort you put forth toward a goal, thereby hurting your chances of achieving it. Not acting on a backup, not implementing a backup. Just thinking about one, expedial. That's the paradox. The very thing we do to protect ourselves from failure makes failure more likely. Guests. Now, this isn't just lab stuff with college students and energy bars. This pattern shows up everywhere in real life once you start looking for it. Think about entrepreneurs. How many people say, I'll give this startup 6 months, but I'll keep my corporate job as backup just in case? On the surface, it sounds sensible, but what often happens? The business never gets the full attention, the full energy, the full desperation it needs to break through. It stalls. It becomes a side project that stays a side project forever. Compare that to founders who burned the boats, who quit their jobs, bet their savings, told everyone they knew. The pressure was immense, but so was the focus, so was the drive. Think about college seniors applying to graduate schools, the ones with 10 safety options sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Put less polish into their dream program's application. They spread themselves thin, they hedge. And admissions committees can sense it. Think about athletes. A young basketball player dreams of going pro, but if they quietly keep college scholarship as a strong backup in their mind, training intensity often suffers. They skip extra reps. They skip film study. They don't stay late. Because it's not do or die, there's a cushion. Contrast that with someone like Kobe Bryant. There are countless stories about his legendary work ethic, practicing at 4 a.m., being the first in the gym and the last to leave, studying film obsessively. He had no real fallback mentality. Basketball wasn't plan A with a safety net. It was everything. That all-in mentality drove a work ethic that became the stuff of legend. Or Michael Jordan, who was famously cut from his high school varsity team. He could have given up, focused on academics, had a backup plan. Instead, he used the failure as fuel, all in, no, alternative. Or entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. There were points where he literally bet everything on Tesla and SpaceX, mortgaging his house, investing his last dollars, no cushy fallback job waiting. That pressure, that absence of a safety net, fueled insane persistence through moments that would have broken most people. Near bankruptcies, production hell, public ridicule. Had he kept a comfortable plan B, would he have pushed as hard through those dark moments? Almost certainly not. Even in everyday goals, like writing a book, learning a language, getting in shape, building a skill, people who treat it as main mission only consistently report higher completion rates and better results than those who hedge. Have you noticed this pattern in your own life? Really think about it. Maybe you started a fitness challenge, but kept thinking, if I hate this program, I'll just switch to walking. And suddenly your workouts felt half-hearted. The intensity wasn't there. Maybe in relationships, keeping emotional backups open, not fully closing dating apps. Maintaining options made you invest less fully in the person right in front of you, and they could probably sense it. Maybe with a creative project, knowing you could always go back to the safe job, kept you from ever truly committing to the scary, uncertain path of making your art. The backup felt like protection, but it was actually a slow leak in your motivation tank. So, what's happening inside the brain when this paradox kicks in? Why does this effect occur? There are at least 3 big psychological mechanisms at play. Number 1, the devaluation effect. When a backup exists, your primary goal automatically feels less valuable. Your brain runs a quick, often unconscious, cost-benefit calculation. If there's an easier alternative path, why grind so hard for this particular one? It's like putting a price tag on your dream, and suddenly it's discounted. A 50% off sale on your ambition. The perceived value drops, so the effort you're willing to invest drops too. Researchers call this goal devaluation. The mere presence of alternatives cheapens the original target in your mind. Number 2, fear of failure as fuel. This one is counterintuitive, but powerful. A bit of fear can be incredibly motivating. Anticipating regret, really feeling in advance what it would be like to fail because you didn't try hard enough, pushes people to work harder, stay up later, push through obstacles. The thought, if I don't give this everything, I'll regret it forever, is rocket fuel for effort. A backup plan removes that emotional pressure. Failure becomes less scary because there's a cushion. The stakes feel lower. And when stakes feel lower, effort drops. Some of the most driven people in history deliberately amplified their fear of failure. They visualized the regret. They burned the boats so retreat wasn't possible. They made failure feel catastrophic, not because it actually was, but because that feeling drove maximum effort. Number 3, mental resource drain. Even casually thinking about alternatives creates cognitive load. It introduces doubt. It splits your attention between how do I succeed at plan A and what would plan B look like. Your working memory, which is limited, gets divided. Decision fatigue sets in. Every time you mentally toggle between paths, you're using up mental energy that could be fully focused on execution. Related research on ego depletion shows how these small mental leaks add up over time. Willpower is finite. Attention is finite. Splitting them between Plan A and Plan B means neither gets your full capacity. There's even a follow-up concept called the backup plan paradox from research by Napolitano and Freund. They found something even more troubling. People who invest time and energy in creating detailed backups become psychologically committed to those backups. What does that mean? It means you're more likely to switch to Plan B prematurely, even when sticking with Plan A would have been the better choice. The sunk cost of planning the backup makes you more attached to using it. So, not only do backups reduce effort on Plan A, they can also pull you toward abandoning Plan A earlier than you should. Let me share a few more real-world examples to make this concrete. Consider the world of professional sports drafts. Athletes who are projected as sure things with no backup needed often train with more intensity than those seen as maybe picks who are told to have a college plan ready. The certainty of the path, or the absence of a fallback, correlates with training intensity. Consider writers. The ones who quit their day jobs to write full-time, often, though not always, produce more than those who keep writing as a side thing. The absence of the safety net creates urgency that drives output. Consider immigrants throughout history, who came to new countries with nothing, no backup, no return ticket. That do-or-die situation frequently drove extraordinary entrepreneurship and achievement, not because immigrants are inherently different, but because the situation structure demanded maximum effort. Consider students in high-stakes exam cultures. While there are valid criticisms of such systems, the absence of grade curves or second chances often produces intense preparation that wouldn't exist otherwise. The pattern repeats across domains. Reduced safety correlates with increased effort. But let's be fair and balanced here. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm not saying backup plans are always evil. I'm not suggesting you should bet your family's savings on a lottery ticket mentality. There are absolutely times when backup plans are smart, even necessary, for high-risk, luck-heavy goals, like breaking into Hollywood acting, winning a major competition where thousands compete for few slots, or starting a venture in a brutally saturated market. Having a Plan B protects your mental health. Without some safety net, constant failure could lead to burnout, depression, or financial ruin. That's not noble. That's just damage. Context matters enormously. If you have dependents relying on you, if failure means homelessness, if the goal is largely luck-based rather than effort-based, then backups make sense. Period. Timing is also everything. The original researchers actually suggest a nuanced approach. Exhaust every possible effort on Plan A first. Give it 100%. Give it 110%. Push until you've truly done everything within your control. Then, and only then, consider contingencies. That way you get the motivation boost during the critical high-effort phase, without the sabotage. In our current economy, with layoffs, AI disruption, gig work, and uncertainty everywhere, soft backups make sense too. Things like building transferable skills, networking broadly, maintaining relationships across industries, or saving an emergency fund. These don't require active, detailed backup planning that drains focus from Plan A. They're just general resilience. But the key distinction is between active backup planning, which splits focus and reduces drive, versus passive resilience building, which creates security without sabotaging motivation. So, how can you practically hack this paradox? How do you keep the fire of motivation burning without falling into the trap? Here are 7 actionable strategies you can start using today. Strategy 1. Commit fully at the start. Decide on Plan A and go all in for an initial defined period, say 3 to 6 months, or until you've hit a major milestone, or tell yourself explicitly, no backup thinking until I've given this absolutely everything I have. Make it a rule. Write it down. Tell someone who will hold you accountable. Strategy 2. Delay backups deliberately. What's cool? Set a specific trigger for when backup planning is allowed. Something like, I won't brainstorm fallbacks until I've sent 100 applications. Or, I won't consider Plan B until I've launched and tested for 90 days. This preserves motivation during the high-effort phase, while still allowing future prudence. Strategy 3. Reframe fear of failure as fuel. Instead of trying to eliminate fear with a safety net, consciously channel it. Remind yourself daily, if I don't succeed here because I didn't go hard enough, I'll regret it forever. Visualize the regret. Feel it. Use that anticipatory pain as rocket fuel for today's effort. Strategy 4. Use implementation intentions. These are if-then plans that boost follow-through without needing backups. Example, if it's 7 a.m. on Monday, then I start my deep work block on Plan A. Or, if I feel like checking social media, then I do 5 minutes of work first. Research shows these simple if-then structures dramatically increase success rates. They keep you focused on execution rather than alternatives. Strategy 5. Remove backup triggers from your environment. If you're trying to launch a business, maybe don't keep your LinkedIn profile perfectly polished for recruiters. If you're training for a competition, don't browse other sports you could pivot to. Reduce the cues that trigger backup thinking. Environment shapes psychology more than we realize. Strategy 6. Find accountability that reinforces commitment. Tell people about your Plan A, publicly if possible. The social pressure of having declared your intention makes backup thinking less attractive. You don't want to be seen as someone who gave up. Strategy 7. Experiment personally. Pick your next meaningful goal. Try running it with absolutely no Plan B for 30 to 60 days. Track your daily motivation, energy, focus, progress. Journal about it. Many people are genuinely shocked at how much more they accomplish. When the safety net disappears, you might be too. So next time you catch yourself quietly building a fallback in your mind, pause. Ask the tough question. Is this truly protecting me, or is it quietly sabotaging the dream? Be honest with yourself. The answer might be uncomfortable. The backup plan paradox reveals something deep about human psychology. Our brains are fundamentally wired to keep us safe, to minimize pain, reduce uncertainty, and avoid worst-case scenarios. That's not weakness. That's evolution. That's millions of years of survival programming. But here's the tension. In the pursuit of meaningful, difficult, life-changing goals, that very protection mechanism can cost us the breakthrough. Safety can become the enemy of greatness. Comfort can become the ceiling on your potential. The cushion that protects you from a hard fall might be the same cushion that keeps you from ever jumping high enough to reach the next level. If this hit home for you, if you're rethinking that quiet Plan B you've been holding on to, smash that like button right now. It genuinely helps more people find this message. Subscribe if you want more hidden psychology truths. That can actually change how you live and work. We go deep here. We challenge assumptions. We look at the research that most people never see. Drop a comment right now. What's your current biggest Plan A? Goal? No backups mentioned. Just the dream. I want to hear it. The community wants to hear it. Speaking it might be the first step toward truly committing. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe someone you know is holding themselves back with too much safety. This could be the message that changes things for them. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next mind bender. We drop new content regularly, and each video is designed to shift how you think about success, psychology, and human potential. Thanks for sticking with me all the way through. That takes focus. That takes commitment. And that's exactly the kind of energy you need to bring to your Plan A. Remember, sometimes the only way forward is to burn the boats and conquer the island. The safety of the shore will always call to you. The comfort of the backup will always whisper. But the greatest achievements in human history came from people who ignored that whisper and went all in anyway. Maybe it's your turn. See you in the next one.